Rotorcraft? Yes. He knows not to ask me difficult helicopter questions, because I'm just going to say, talk to Seb. Talk to Seb. Seb, over there.
Money.
My name is Jorg Neumann. I'm the head of Microsoft Flight Simulator.
My name is Sebastian Wloch. I'm the CEO of Asobo Studio.
I'm Bossard in French, and I'm the executive producer of Flight Sim.
40 years. That's 4 decades. Back in 1982, a new game hit the market in a time where personal computers were still not a common sight in people's homes, and the internet as we know it was but a mirage, if foreseeable at all the way it is right now. Microsoft Flight Simulator 1.0 was the start of one of the most successful franchises of the company. The oldest really, even older than Microsoft Windows or Microsoft Office, which started with Microsoft Word for MS-DOS. Back in 2020, 38 years after its first release, Microsoft Flight Simulator saw a very unexpected new version come to life, and now in 2022, it commemorates 40 years of existence. To mark the event, Microsoft invited a group of media professionals and content creators to attend a special event at the Evergreen Air and Space Museum in Macon, Oregon, United States. In this event, we got a review of everything we were about to see, an exclusive hands-on on the newest update, and the chance to talk with the team. I took the opportunity to get to know a bit more not only about the product, but also about the people behind it, and how it was for them to be part of this amazing milestone.
It's a big deal is what it is. And it's, the way I think about it is a responsibility more than anything. Because, like, hobbies are, to me, there's family, friends, hobby. Those are probably the three. There's probably some other things that other people prioritize in life, but I think those are some of the most important things in life. And when you have some part in somebody's hobby, there's a great responsibility that comes with that, because they have to trust you, right? I can imagine what happened in 2006 when Microsoft decided not to go forward. I wasn't in the hobby then, but I can imagine what people felt like. Left alone, kind of out there in the wind, it's scary. And I think, and it can never happen again, which is why when we first met, I said, we're in this for 10 years. What I meant to say, we're in this for the long run. That's what I meant to say.
Impressive, I would say. I hope, I think it's going to be maybe like aviation. It's going to be continuing even when I retire, maybe, who knows? So I hope we will be part of the journey for as long as possible, and then hand it over when I'm whatever 70 to other people.
I think I'm the most lucky guy ever. If you were talking to this 6 years old boy, at the time, maybe not at 6, but I would have had 12 or 13 when I was the age to be interested in such subjects. If somebody would have told me that I would be in charge of this project like 30 years after that, it was like something you can't believe, right? To have the inheritage of a project like Flight Sim, it has been A, super exciting, B, super frightening. Super exciting because, as I told you, it was like a dream coming true. Super frightening because you know what you need to do, you know what you need to achieve. You know already when you've got such project in your hand that it's not going to be an easy trip. There's a lot of research to be done. On top of that, with everything that we wanted to bring, this VFR map, this digital twin of the Earth, there were a lot of unknowns. So it was like that kind of mixed feeling between excitation and fear. We can use the word fear.
Because people they have to trust you, and not just individuals, the process, the group of people that are endowed with this responsibility. And I find that very important and I constantly remind myself, we're a vessel to make other people's wishes come true. That's our job. And as long as we pay attention to what they say, we have an open mind, I don't believe we're arrogant people. We just listen and we do what we can. And prioritization is sometimes a thing, but ultimately I think that's trustworthy. And then everything else will be solved with time. Words are cheap, actions have to follow, and hopefully we show actions.
Over the last 2 years since Microsoft Flight Simulator came out, 27 updates were released between Sim updates and World updates. But the 40th anniversary edition is obviously a special one. So how did the rest of the team handle this? Has this been a special ride for them as well?
I'm 100% sure. So it has been same as what, well, we are coming from a video game industry. So it has been a bit surprising to when we started this project saying, okay, it's not really a game, it's something else. We are not like all the coders, the QA, they were not basically some people involved into the simulation. So we had to turn this team into a team dedicated to a simulation. It was not an easy trip, as I told you. It's not an easy switch. But the passion is there. And I would say that it was a bit complicated when we started because we didn't know if it was a successful road. Now that we know that at least we are making some good things. We've got some good feedbacks, not only good feedbacks, but we've got plenty of good feedbacks. I think that the team got proud of what they did. So they've been reassured that we were doing things in the right way. And now we've got like a strong passion. You can feel that in your team.
Everyone seemed to be excited and on the same page both at Microsoft and Asobo, and they were ready to make the 40th anniversary edition a special one that is even more dear and special to both glider and helicopter fans. And while I was there to join the commemoration of this impressive milestone, my mind was obviously focused on testing the helicopters. But I also wanted to learn more about it. What were the major breakthroughs? What changed in the sim? And how did it all impact the other aircraft in Microsoft Flight Simulator?
There has been quite a lot of changes. So on airplanes, each surface has one surface. And it is like a physical representation of a surface, which is simulated at 100 Hertz, like 100 times per second. It's completely asynchronous from frame rate for display. So display can be at 200 or at 50. The sim is always going to run at 100. It's going to oversample to the exact time step. For helicopters, initially I thought, okay, we're going to need a surface along the blade. So we have a bunch of surfaces really modeling precisely the blade. And I knew that when it was spinning very fast, let's say you have 2 blades or 3, like the Cabri, when it's spinning very fast, maybe we may get reverberations or effects where the sample rate is matching at moments which are always the same, and then like the 3 blades maybe like this, like a stroboscopic effect. And I said, okay, no, when the blade is spinning fast, we're going to create virtual surfaces. So the helicopter has actually 16. Every helicopter, when it spins fast, we turn one blade into 16 virtual surfaces to catch more. So that was the initial thinking, was, hey, let's make 16 surfaces and catch more samples, right? And then we found how important flapping was to pretty much everything. You couldn't even fly without flapping. And we said, okay, but this does not capture flapping because it's virtual blades, and they don't spin. The frequency is still not fast enough. 100 Hertz on the Cabris, maybe one here and then one here, and flapping is very fast, right? You go when the pitch is up, maybe forward, it's going up and then it's already going down. And also, flapping needs how do you call it when vibrations accumulate? It's a resonance. So on the first turn you go up, and then on the second turn you go higher, and it resonates, right? This is really feeding the flapping. And to get the resonance right, and to get all the offset, right? I go forward, the pitch is up here, and it actually, the time it takes for the blade to bend up and push the helicopter, it happens here. And to get this phase lag, which is 90 degrees on helicopters, or 85, or actually in the sim you can measure it. It's not always 90. You can't perfectly set it. Like in the previous iteration of the physics, it was hard-coded 90. Now it's simulated, so depends on the shape of your blade, of the resistance of the materials. You may get it to 110 and then 80, depending on the phase of flight. This needed 1,000 Hertz. Otherwise, it would not work. I think it has a small impact on planes for me, but it showed me how different helicopters are. It was really, the big breakthrough was managing turbulent airflow which is key on helicopters, whereas on planes it's important, but in many phases of the flight, like when you're in cruise, turbulent airflow doesn't really do much, or it has maybe a 1% effect. When on helicopters, it's the majority of what's going on is turbulence. And at the beginning, this was R&D, right? We were not 100% sure that it would be actually working. And it took a few weeks of testing and making sure the data was correct. And I think reusing that back, feeding that back, that was, I explained that at the beginning, was our intention to make sure we don't do this just for helicopters. So it's already active on one plane. And I think our goal is to use this more and more. And also to improve the technology, get more and more accurate, to be able to simulate smaller and smaller effects. And hopefully it's going to feed back and get stuff like prop wash or even ground effects better on aircraft too, right? There's discussions about how strong ground effect should be, and ground effect is also, you can see on helicopter, very dependent on the ground, whether it's grass, like the texture of the ground, but also the slope or bumps, and is there wind? It changes, right? Ground effect, if there's strong wind, you lose ground effect. And this can also help, I think, improve aircraft. Whenever airflow is turbulent or very dependent on the environment, which can, I mean, when you're close to the ground, it's pretty often. One of the major changes is that you can now see the air, whether it's in thermals or on the helicopter. It's sort of the same, it has the same look, but it's sort of the same idea. And I think by seeing what the air does, we're gonna get several things. We're gonna get, I think, better understanding by people who fly, but maybe also better feedback. People who say, this is maybe not realistic, or I don't like what happened here, or who don't understand maybe a turbulence, they will have something which they can see and understand what it was, or even report, hey, I saw this air doing this over this hill, and it shouldn't do that, or whatever. It's difficult because you can't always compare. You don't have a airflow visualization in real world. You can throw leaves or dust, but that's limited.
While the amount of effort and technological challenges overcome are impressive, the only way we users can enjoy it is by flying helicopters in the sim. But the initial plan was not to include free or default helicopters. Fortunately, that changed in a meeting a few months ago.
Yeah, you told me it needs to be free, Jorg. I'm like, okay, cool. I remember the meeting actually. It's like, yeah, I think he's right.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you for
true.
listening. It's actually what you've been doing all this time.
Yeah.
It's like I say, just
It's very easy to live life when you listen well. When people with good information and good conscience come and tell you stuff, all you need to do is listen.
2 free helicopters are amazing to start with, and it will allow everyone to give helicopters a try. But what's next? Can we expect more helicopters coming from Microsoft in the future?
Right now, I would say we roughly have about 80 planes in development, 80 aircraft. Where are they coming out, in what context, and when are they even done? I have no earthly idea. Some of them are done when they're done. You know, some of them are complex, some of them are not so complex, and some of them will take years and some of them won't. And do I really have a firm concept of when what is shipping? No. I mean, because it needs to be good, first and foremost. It doesn't matter if it's, I mean, we don't want to ship bad things. So you had an idea that you told me a few weeks ago, it seems like, maybe a few months ago, about classic helicopters, and I literally hadn't thought about it. Sometimes you feel like an idiot, but I am not going to look at, you wrote me an email with pictures, so I'm going to go look at, yeah, okay, which one of the classic rotorcraft should we try? And we haven't started those. So, but this will take some development slots and capacity, and we're going to try this, and then we'll see how long it takes. And I think that's just generally what you should expect. The 40th was not a master-minded plan from 4 years ago. This was something that felt right. After we did the Game of the Year edition last year, in November, I went on vacation, thought about the year ahead, and at some point I'm like, wow, it's the 40th, what the hell are we doing? We're not doing an edition, we need to do something. So we had already worked on rotorcraft because, you know, because everybody poked, and then gliders were in development, and I knew I read everything about what people felt about our airliners, and it was clear we needed to do something, right? They wanted more complexity. Okay, so that was going, and then the Spirit of St. Louis was going for a completely different purpose, right? Was supposed to be a free aircraft at E3. Didn't end up going there, but it went into the 40th because it felt right. And then we sort of assembled all these pieces. Not all the planes made it. We made a bunch more planes that we didn't get the licenses for in time. So when are they coming out? I don't know. They're going to come, though.
And what about the helicopter cousins? What about tilt rotors?
You saw it the other day, right? The Osprey just came out. I actually haven't. I'm so excited. I put it on the top of my status report. I write a weekly status report. It was in there twice, last week and this week. And I haven't tried it yet, but I can't wait. Osprey looks cool. There's a lot of the new air taxis. They're all tilt. Like, not all of them, but many of them are. So it's inevitable. It's the future of some aspect of aviation, and we, some of this here is celebrating the past. We're also moving forward with new aircraft. There's lots of things that are going on in aviation, as you know, and I think we'll explore all that. Why not? That's what we're here for.
Helicopters are pretty amazing and are able to do cool things as well. There are all sorts of different types of missions we can do with them. Can we expect them in Microsoft Flight Simulator in the future?
I am looking forward to playing the high performance groups multiple mission thingies that they did. Cool, looks cool. Like, I only watched the trailer so far. I do have the H-135 or whatever, but haven't played that yet. The offshore thing, it looks cool. So let's look what it is. And I mean, that literally is what's happening. Like, there was a screenshot 2 days ago of a whale. Somebody's making something. I was like, that's cool. I wrote, copy, whatever website it was, copy, send it to the team. It was like, I remember saying, why can they have whales and we can't? That's literally my email. And they're like, we're looking into it. Okay. But is that coming in the next 6 months? No. We have to model the whales, animate the whales, figure out where whales live. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, right? And the same is true for stuff like the, sort of mission-y things or action-y type of components. Like, is it true in aviation? That's actually the first question I always ask. Is this real or is this fake? If it's fake, I want to have nothing to do with it. If it's real, okay, then let's talk to people who do this. That's my next thing. If there's a search and rescue pilot somewhere, I want to go talk to them and see what their life is like. And then we reproduce that life. And then people who might want to use this as a career or something, great. We'll do this in flight sim. It's authentic, right? Our pillars, authenticity, big deal. But you need to study it and understand. How long did it take us to make helicopters? Long time. But we had to understand it.
Microsoft Flight Simulator has helped thousands of people all around the world to know more about aviation, and we will continue to do so by bringing aviation to our homes.
It's going to make such a positive impact and influence so many people in such a profound way. And so where we have our physical limitation of being in a certain latitude and longitude and so much square footage and only one spruce goose, it's one of one. When you have an opportunity to collaborate with Microsoft like this, they're going to expose these aircraft, not just the Spruce Goose, but the Curtiss Jenny. And we have replicas of the Wright Flyer and the Spirit of St. Louis. And so where people may have been inspired by these aircraft for any number of reasons, maybe it's them, maybe it was a family member or a friend or somebody that influenced them in their lives. And because of Microsoft Flight Simulator, they can have their own adventure with this aircraft. But presumably, there's going to be a call to action that someone's going to want to see it. And whether they call that a pilgrimage or that's added to your bucket list or whatever expression you want to use, but that desire to see it in person is that connection that we want to foster. And it goes back to just, if you're curious about something, we want you to be, to have the courage to take that first step. And if you take that first step, then you'll have the confidence to do whatever else it is you want to do in life. And that's what we want to foster here at the museum. That is what Jorg and his team are living every day. And we are so delighted to be a part of that.
40 years of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and the special edition commemorating the event was a huge step forward in making the sim whole again, with the inclusion of the two types of aircraft that were missing. Granted, it is not perfect, but it's an amazing start, and the team is motivated and listening. Welcome back, Microsoft Flight Simulator, and now for the half-century edition. What should we expect until that happens?
There's lots of stuff coming, lots and lots. That's maybe the quick answer. Like we are just at the beginning.